Hello everybody, Nick Racer for Kids here once again, bringing you a deck that I've been working on for a while, alongside with a little bit of assistance from Alephia2 on the Go Format Discord, which is my take on quote-unquote Go Format gadgets, which what I mean by Go Format gadgets is a deck that consistently provides monsters onto the field, getting advantage from them and playing monsters every turn and using removal to get rid of all of the opponent's monsters so that you're just a constant stream of I have monsters and you don't. And the cards that really facilitate this are Emissary of the Afterlife, which is a level 4 fiend with 1600 attack and 600 defense. And when it's sent from the field to the graveyard, which includes if it's destroyed or if it's tributed, or anything like that. Each player adds one level 3 or lower normal monster from their deck to their hand, and almost nobody plays level 3 or lower normal monsters. And what we have for our target is Dragon Zombie. Technically, you could take out the Dragon Zombie and play Sonic Bird instead. But I kept Dragon Zombie because it's dark and I like to play Strike Ninja in this deck. I'll go into more detail in a moment, but yeah, we have two Dragon Zombie as our targets for Emissary of the Afterlife. If you want, you could replace them with Sonic Bird because it does have more attack. And the other card that facilitates having monsters on the field every turn is Mystic Tomato. You should all know what that does. I did try for a while to play Mayne the Thorn, which, if you don't know, it's a level 4 1800 warrior, and when it inflicts damage to your opponent, you can add one Dark Scorpion monster, or you can target one Dark Scorpion monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. The issue is that it really isn't good. 1000 attack is pretty horrible, and unfortunately 1800 often doesn't cut it for defense either, because opponents are playing things like BK and Berserk Gorilla. But you could try that out if you want. Just so you know, in Go Format, Cliff the Trap Rover isn't a Dark Scorpion, but the Go Format text for Mayne the Thorn does say you can add Cliff the Trap Remover, so it doesn't really matter that it's not actually a Dark Scorpion. You could still add it. But if you did do that version of the deck, you really only need two Mayne, and I would run one Cliff the Trap Remover, because Mayne can recycle itself over and over and over again, because it can add from the graveyard. But unfortunately, I found that it just was not cutting the mustard when I played it. I played like 10 duels with it, and I literally didn't even get to use it once. So that should tell you. Yeah, so the main facilitators are Emissary of the Afterlife and Mystic Tomato. We've got 3 of both of those and 2 Dragon Zombie to search up with the Emissary. And besides that, we've got Breaker, we've got 1 DD Warrior Lady, 1 Don Zalug, which you could technically remove the Don Zalug, but since we have so much removal in the deck, it's nice to have it. Because, remove a monster and then attack directly after you search for it, it's just really good. We also have Exiled Force, basic removal, and we have 2 Rhoda in the deck to be able to search it up. And alongside that Rhoda, we have the Mystic Swordsman level 2, just to get rid of the opponent's face downs. Again, this is something you could technically take out if you wanted to run Mayne. I would say take out the Don and the Mystic Swordsman, possibly. But there's also something you can side out very easily if your opponent's not running a lot of flips. I also have 1 Ninja Grandmaster Sasuke, just because this deck gets hurt pretty badly by things like Gravekeeper Spy, and this is good for clearing those spies. 1 Sangan, again, that sticks with the theme of Go Format gadgets, where we're adding cards back to our hand and summoning our own monsters every turn. And we have one of Strike Ninja in the deck. Level 4 Warrior, 1700, 1200. Good enough stats to protect itself from being able to be hit by an opponent's Sook. And its effect is you can banish 2 dark monsters from your graveyard, and then banish this face-up card until the end phase. You can only activate the effect once per turn. And basically, the way that it works in this deck, it actually works better in this deck than in most decks. Because one, we have a boatload of dark monsters and we don't care about banishing them because we aren't playing BLS. But also, we pretty much don't have many monsters that are going to have more than 1600 attack. So if the opponent wants to Snatch Steal, they want to Snatch Steal the Strike Ninja, but the Strike Ninja is just going to remove itself. And any removal they try to use, you basically get a plus on. And in this deck, the whole idea is to get pluses off of your monsters, whittle down the opponent's resources while you just have gas to play every turn. So it really works out. I've also seen people try to brain control or destroy this with Zaborg and stuff, and then you end up just banishing it and then being able to make your plays on the next turn. I like it as one of, I definitely wouldn't play more than one, but I like it as one in the deck. And then of course we have Tribe. We get a lot of monsters in hand because of the Emissary and the Sangan. So it's nice to have something to be able to ditch the monsters with. And then for spells and traps, we of course have the Trinity. And we have Heavy Storm. We play one Lightning Vortex, again, because we get so many monsters in our hand. Like, even though I'm only playing 17 monsters, you could probably even cut down to 16 or even like, I think 15 would be pushing it because you still need to be able to have a monster every turn. But you could probably cut down one monster because you end up with such monster heavy hands. But yeah, Lightning Vortex, again, it's mainly to get rid of Gravekeeper Spies and to get rid of Thousand Eyes Restrict if they play that. If you're up against a deck like Warriors, this probably isn't a very good card to keep in. Mystical Space Typhoon, Double Nobleman, Premature, and the 2 Reinforced of the Army. And one card that I like to do, technically you could only run like 2 of these, but I like to run 3 Smashing Ground in this deck just because it's like, how many decks do you get to use 3 Smashing Ground in? This is what the deck's designed for, is to play removal and then just play your monsters and slam the opponent's life points over and over and over again. And of course, 1 Snatch Steal. We've got for traps, Call of the Haunted, of course, Mirror Force, of course, Ring of Destruction, and 2 Sakuretsu Armor. If you edit this deck up a bit, I think you could even run 3, and it got Torrential Tribute, and 2 Trap Dust Shoot. The Dust Shoot has been really, really good, and again, you have things like Lightning Vortex and Tribe Infecting Virus to discard them if they're ever dead. But Trap Dust Shoot is just really great to have against decks like Turbo that if they play their BLS, you're probably going to die that turn. Things like that. And overall, I like having it, and you can always side it out if you're going second or you're playing against Warriors or whatever. So that's the basic idea for the deck. Again, if you want to play a more like casual version of this deck, you could definitely play Mayne the Thorn, put in 2 of her, and possibly 1 Cliff of Trap Remover. I like to have a Cliff of Trap Remover in the side anyway. It was actually in the main deck over Dawn, just because I liked having a level 3 monster in case I ran into certain decks, and it always baits out back row, but Dawn does the same thing. So it's like, might as well just play Dawn, and then if I play against something that has like level limit area B, I can just bring in the Cliff the Trap Remover. Something that you could also consider main decking instead of Mayne is Gravekeeper Spy, because it does sort of fit with the theme of summoning monsters over and over again, because it does grab another spy, and it's actually really good aggro even if you don't put them in defense. But it's also really good putting this in game 2 and game 3 against a lot of decks because they tend to take out their own Nobleman of Crossout since you don't set any monsters. Pretty much game 1, don't set anything unless you absolutely have to, because you want to make their Nobleman's dead and then they'll remove it in the next game and you can play your Gravekeeper Spies with impunity. And you can start setting in game 2 and 3 as well. I like to have the Mobius in the side as well because Emissary does trigger off of Tribute Summon, so it's nice to have that. Against very heavy flip decks, you can have another Mystic Source level 2, another Sasuke, very heavy defense, like if you know they're running 3 Spy or they're running Spirit Reaper, things like that, it's good to have. You can also play Spirit Reaper in this deck. Again, you could choose to over Dawn, but again, I would wait for game 2 or 3 to do that, because otherwise you're just giving them a card that's live in hand. It can be searched off of your Mystic Tomatoes and of course your Sangan, but the advantage of Dawn, though, is you can get it off of Rhoda, so there's that. You can also run Zaborgs in this deck and make it more of a Chaos deck if you want to, because you can add in some lights, and in that case I'd get rid of the Strike Ninja. You can also replace one of these Dragon Zombies with, I believe, Biomage if you really wanted to. I don't know if that's worth it, but Biomage is a level 3 fairy with 1150 attack and 1000 defense. It's unfortunately the best light target for Emissary of the Afterlife. And besides that, you can run Mystic Walk to help against the burn. Tribute to the Doomed is a potential choice over Lightning Vortex because it lets you destroy set monsters. I don't know if it's necessarily worth it because we do have the Mystic Swords in level 2. We could do that. And I tried out Royal Oppression in the side. I definitely wouldn't main deck it, but against things like Reasoning Gate and Control decks that use Scapegoat and such, it's actually pretty good because you can lock them into situations where they have to destroy Royal Oppression or you just completely run away with the game, because you can negate their Scapegoats, you can negate their Reasoning, you can negate their Monster Gate, you can negate their BLS summon. Just remember, you have to activate this right away, because in Go format, continuous trap cards have to be face up before their effects apply. But anyway, this is the deck. I'll have some replays for you that you can check out as well. Thank you very much, and have a good one.